Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at how to use the Microsoft ASP MVC engine to preserve routes when we'd like to make changes to existing routes. This is something that is very important when you start talking about terms of SEO, search engine optimization, or just not break external links to your site. I have this URL above, cast items by level, and you give it advanced. And this isn't doing the job for you anymore. I'd like to change this cast items by level to be something different, but I don't want to break all the external references that reference this particular page or my other given pages by this URL. So I want to show you how to do that with the MVC engine. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and when you can get this to work for you, it's a pretty powerful tool. Let's go ahead and take a look. The first thing we need to do is we need to take a look at the routes that have been defined within our ASAX file. As you'll notice, I've already created a custom route before. This is here for my URL, but I need to change this. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to copy this route because I'm going to need a second route for this. After I've pasted this route, I'm going to go ahead and rename this route to obsolete. That way we know that it's no longer really needed, and I'm going to go ahead and add a comment to it as well. And then I'm going to leave the second route the same for now, and I'm going to come back to the first route. I want to leave the URL part of the route correct, or the same, because that is still what is in play. But what I want to do is I want to change the action that the route will actually call by default. So I'm going to leave the controller the same, call it cast, and I'm going to go ahead and change the route to be by level. And then I'm going to come down to my new route, and I'm going to change this route to be what I want it to be. So I want the URL to be cast by level and level name, and I'm going to change the controller action to be the same thing. Now I have two routes that should point to the same controller and the same action, but they both have different URLs. This is my old one for preserving the SEO stuff, and this is the new one to implement the new naming convention I want to follow. So once we've done that, all we really have to do now is go over to our controller page and rename the old controller action to be the new route or new controller action name based on the route changes we want to make. And right now I shouldn't have to do anything else. I'll go ahead and save this, and let's actually give this a quick run and see what happens. Let's put a breakpoint in here as well, just so we can step into the code and make sure that the route gets hit both ways. Taking a while for this page to load today. Well, while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of the other things we're going to do after we make the changes. So we've made the changes to the routing engine, we've made the changes to our controller. The last thing we're going to want to do is probably go ahead and change our view to be the name that we want the new name to be, or we can actually go ahead and leave the view the old name, but we'll have to then type it in our render view so that it gets mapped appropriately. I'm going to go ahead and rename it once this page loads, and I can actually show you how this works. Actually, let's stop this and we'll go to the other page I already have loaded. So you'll look down at the bottom that the route is the same, so when I click on it, I should pop into here, and it does. So this is the old route going to the new controller action, but it can't find my method, I don't have a view by the name of by level yet, which is fine. Let's go ahead and change the route to be the new route, and sure enough it does get hit as well. So I know that both the old route and the new route get handled by the same controller action, but because I have not renamed my view, I get this error. So let's go ahead and step back into the code real quick. Now one thing I could do if I really wanted to, I could just simply do something like this. And this would use the old view that's still sitting around called cast items by level. However, I don't want the view to be out of date as well as far as naming goes, so I'm going to go ahead and change the view and get rid of this. to go ahead and just do a standard F2 rename. Once that's renamed, I'll go ahead and rename the class file. Make sure everything is renamed appropriately. And last but not least, I'll have to go in and change the class that the view actually inherits off of. Okay, so we've renamed everything. Well, now the view should work just fine, so let's go ahead and recompile this. And if I rerun this, it should render just fine because now I've got our view by the correct name. And it does render just fine. You'll notice up in the URL up here, it is using the new route. Now last but not least, I'm going to want to change any code that generates that route on my site, and the only place I have it is here on this cast levels listing, so let's go ahead and make a change to that real quick. And I'm simply going to make this change here. And recompile, and I should be able to refresh the website and all my changes should be reflected. And if I look down at the bottom in my toolbar, sure enough, the route is correct. So now what I've essentially done is I've preserved my SEO routing for any websites such as Google or external sites that may link into my site by the old URL, and I'm able to keep them as well as move forward with my new naming convention that I want. So it turns out to be pretty easy, and as you can see, all I really need to do is modify an existing route and do some renaming, and all the world is better, and I'm able to make my changes and move forward. So I hope you learned something today. Until next time.